There comes a moment in many people's lives when something very quiet but very radical happens. The things that used to light you up, music, food, trips, even conversations with friends, start to feel strangely distant, almost as if they belonged to someone else's life. You still do them because that's what you've always done. But inside there is a kind of flatness, a sense of this should feel good, but it doesn't. And very quickly the mind comes in with its favorite conclusion: something is wrong with me. It calls this state depression, disconnection, even failure. But what if this is not a personal failure at all, but the beginning of a different way of being? To understand what is really happening, we first have to look honestly at what we called joy before. For most of our lives, joy has actually meant relief. Relief from hunger, relief from boredom, relief from loneliness, relief from the feeling of not being enough. You are restless, then you buy something, and there is a little high. You feel alone, then someone texts you, and for a moment you feel wanted. These waves of tension and relief become your entire definition of happiness. But relief is not the same as peace. It is simply a pause in the discomfort you were already carrying. Imagine someone stretching an itch over and over again. If you only look at the moment of scratching, you might say, "That looks pleasurable." But if you step back, you see the full picture. An itch that never really goes away. A person who has to keep scratching again and again to feel okay for a few seconds. This is how most human joy works. The pleasure is tied to a background feeling of lack, of I need this to feel complete. And when that mechanism begins to break down, when the scratching no longer satisfies, it can feel as if joy itself has disappeared. This is often the point where people become afraid. They go to doctors, they search the internet, they compare themselves with others who still seem excited about parties, trips, plans, and they conclude, I must be broken. And sometimes, yes, there can be a clinical depression that needs care and support. But in many cases, something else is happening. Something that psychology alone does not fully explain. A deeper intelligence in you has begun to see through the old game of chasing one relieved moment after another. You start to notice that every so-called high has a cost. The more you depend on certain experiences to feel alive, the more anxious you become about losing them. You cling to the relationship that makes you happy, and in that clinging there is already fear. You chase the next achievement, but built into that chase is the quiet belief that right now, as you are not enough. When this mechanism is exposed, when you really see how exhausting it is, your system simply stops cooperating. It refuses to believe that one more distraction will finally save you. In spiritual traditions, this moment is sometimes called a dark night. Not because life becomes objectively worse, but because the lights that used to entertain you begin to go out. The colorful neon signs of pleasure, excitement, and drama lose their power. You look at the same screen, the same food, the same weekend plans, and you feel nothing. The mind interprets this as loss, as death, because for the mind, being constantly stimulated is proof of being alive. But another part of you, much quieter, is trying to show you that there is life beyond stimulation. Think of your life as a room that has always been lit by flickering candles. The moving shadows on the walls kept you fascinated. Every new plan, every new relationship, every new purchase created different shapes, and you called those shapes happiness. Suddenly, someone opens a window and bright daylight pours in. At first, everything looks washed out, almost colourless. The shadows disappear. You say, "My God, I've lost everything that made this room beautiful." But you haven't lost reality. You've only lost the shadows. When the light first comes in, your eyes hurt. You are tempted to close the window, to go back to the candlelight and the dancing shapes, even if they were never truly satisfying. This is exactly the temptation when joy seems to vanish. To force yourself back into old patterns. You try harder to enjoy what used to excite you. You book louder trips. You seek more intense experiences. You push your nervous system to feel something, anything. But the more you push, the more artificial it feels, and the emptiness only becomes louder. The mind doesn't like empty space. it is used to being occupied with problems, goals, fears, and fantasies. When the old joys no longer grip you, the mind experiences a kind of panic. It whispers, "If I don't want what I used to want, and I don't enjoy what I used to enjoy, who am I now?" This question is very uncomfortable because it reveals the truth. Your identity was built almost entirely around chasing experiences. When that chase slows down, you are left face to face with something the mind has spent years avoiding. Simple, naked being. Now, here is the important shift. This phase is not a punishment, it is an invitation. You are being weaned from a life based on peaks and dropped gently, though it may not feel gentle, into a life based on presence. Before, your attention jumped from one object to another, asking, "Will you make me happy? Will you?" Now life is asking you a different question. Can you be here even when nothing special is happening? The old joy depended on events. The new joy, which is not really joy but a deep okayness, depends only on awareness itself. If you look closely, you may notice that what you call nothing is actually full. Sitting on a chair without distraction, three things are present: the body breathing, the space around you, and the awareness that notices both. The mind says, "This is boring, there is no joy here." But that is only because the mind is comparing this moment to a remembered high. Behind that comparison, something very quiet is already here. A sense that, even without excitement, you still exist, you still are. That simple "I am" is far more stable than any wave of pleasure. For most of your life, you have been addicted to movement. Not just physical movement, but psychological movement. Always going somewhere, becoming someone, achieving something. Even your spiritual journey may have been part of this movement, trying to become more enlightened, more peaceful, more special. When joy disappears, it is as if life is gently taking away your favorite drug. Of course, the first response is withdrawal, discomfort, confusion, a feeling of loss. But underneath that withdrawal is the possibility of resting in what does not move. At this stage, one of the most dangerous habits is comparison. You compare your current state with how you felt 5 years ago, or with how others appear on social media. You tell yourself stories. They are happy, I am not. I used to feel alive, now I'm empty. Every comparison creates a gap between here and there, and in that gap, suffering grows. But the comparison is a trick of the mind. It chooses a single memory, paints it in golden colors, and then uses it as a weapon against the present moment. To wake up, you must begin to question these comparisons. Instead of asking, "Why don't I feel what I used to feel?" you can ask a more honest question. What is actually here, right now, if I stop demanding that it feel a certain way? You may notice a subtle resistance in the body, a tightness in the chest or stomach, as if something in you is saying, "No, this moment is not enough." If you can simply feel that tightness, that no, without fighting it, something softens. You are no longer fighting your current experience. You are including it in your awareness. This inclusion is the beginning of real peace. Real peace is not an emotion. It is a relationship with emotions. In the old joy, you wanted certain feelings and tried to avoid others. You wanted excitement, affection, recognition, and you feared boredom, rejection, and loneliness. Your inner life was divided into good states and bad states, and joy meant having more of the good than the bad. Now, life is inviting you into a different relating, where you no longer chase one half and escape the other. Instead, you remain as the space in which all states come and go. You might ask, but how do I get to that space? The surprising answer is, you don't. You cannot arrive at what you already are. The awareness that hears these words, that feels the weight of your body right now, that notices the thoughts saying, "I don't feel joy," that awareness is the space. It has always been here. What changes is not awareness itself, but your interest. Before, you were fascinated only by the objects appearing in awareness, the experiences, the highs, the dramas. Now you are being pushed, almost against your will, to notice the awareness itself. This shift can feel painfully ordinary. The ego expected awakening to be some permanent explosion of bliss, a non-stop spiritual fireworks show. Instead, what appears is something very simple, almost quiet to the point of being overlooked. A sense of being okay even when nothing special is happening. No angels singing, no dramatic visions, just this. Sitting, breathing, hearing sounds, existing. The ego says, "This can't be it. This is too plain." And in that complaint, it misses the miracle. The miracle is not that joy disappears. The miracle is that you remain. The part of you that used to be completely entangled with experiences now has a little distance. You can notice, here's the thought that says, "I'm empty." Here is the sensation of heaviness. Here is the urge to run away. And if you stay just a few seconds longer than usual, not acting out the urge, not believing every thought, you begin to sense a new dimension, a background of stillness, like the sky behind all changing weather. Think of your emotions and pleasures as clouds. Some are bright and fluffy. Some are dark and stormy. Some pass quickly. Others seem to linger. For most of your life, your attention has been glued to the clouds, chasing the bright ones, fearing the dark ones. Now, as the old joy loses power, you are given a chance to notice the sky. The sky is not excited, and it is not depressed. It simply allows everything to move through. This sky-like awareness is what you truly are. Of course, the mind will ask, but what is the point of a life without joy? Notice that when it says joy, it secretly means constant stimulation, constant emotional high. It never asks about the price of this constant high, the anxiety, the clinging, the fear of losing what you love. A more honest question might be, what is the point of a life where I am always running, never resting, always chasing, never arriving? When nothing brings you joy anymore, that question collapses. The chase stops. Now you have the rare opportunity to discover what it means simply to be. This is where a new kind of responsibility arises. Not the old responsibility of controlling everything and everyone, but the responsibility to be present for your own life. When there is no joy to chase, you can finally do things because they are simply what is needed now, not because they promise a reward. You wash the dishes, answer a message, take a walk, not to feel something, but because these are the movements of life in this moment. There is a strange freedom in this. Freedom from the constant question, what will I get from this? The ego will protest, but if nothing gives me joy, I will become passive. I will do nothing. Look more closely. Is that true, or is it a fear? The heart does not need a reward to care. If your child is crying, you don't ask, will this bring me joy, before you comfort them. Something deeper than pleasure moves you. When the addiction to joy fades, actions begin to come from this deeper place. You may find yourself drawn to simpler, quieter expressions. Kindness, listening, creating, resting, with no dramatic high, but with a gentle sense of rightness. Another important aspect of this phase is learning to trust slowness. In the old way, you could quickly fix a bad mood with food, entertainment, or some distraction. Now, those quick fixes no longer work, and you might feel tempted to search for spiritual quick fixes instead. New techniques, new teachers, new practices to get your joy back. But awakening is not a race. Your system is adjusting from a life of stimulation to a life of presence, and that adjustment takes time. Just as your eyes need time to adapt from darkness to daylight, your inner perception needs time to adapt from drama to stillness. During this adaptation, your mind may try to create a new identity, the one who feels nothing. It will say, I am numb, I am empty, I am broken. Be very careful with these labels. They seem to describe reality, but in fact, they create it. When you say, I am empty, you shrink your whole being into a single temporary state. Instead, try to notice emptiness is being felt. The one who notices emptiness cannot be empty, because awareness itself is full of life, full of experiencing, even if what it experiences now is a lack of joy. You may also notice a subtle form of pride hiding inside your flatness. A thought may appear, I am beyond simple pleasures. Other people are naive. I see the truth that nothing matters. This is not awakening. This is the ego putting on spiritual clothes. When you truly see through the game of pleasure, you do not become superior. You become humble, simple, ordinary. You can enjoy a cup of tea, a bird singing, a conversation, not as a way to escape yourself, but as gentle expressions of the same being that you are. One of the most healing movements you can make right now is to stop pathologizing your experience. The mind wants to turn everything into a personal story. This shouldn't be happening. This means I am failing at life. But what if this is not a personal malfunction, but a natural stage in human consciousness evolving? What if life is simply done with the old way of motivating you through promises of pleasure, and is inviting you into a more mature relationship with existence? When you stop fighting your state, even slightly, you make room for intelligence to move. So, what can you actually do practically when nothing brings you joy? You can simplify. Do what obviously needs to be done each day. Eat, sleep enough, take care of your body as well as you can. Respond to the responsibilities you already have. Reduce unnecessary stimulation so you can actually feel what is here instead of always numbing it. And above all, bring a gentle curiosity to your experience. How does this flatness feel in the body? Where do I resist it? What happens if I stop calling it wrong for a few seconds? Curiosity is very different from self-analysis. Self-analysis wants to fix, to diagnose, to reach a conclusion. Curiosity simply wants to see. You are not trying to solve yourself like a problem. You are allowing yourself like a landscape. Sometimes the landscape is sunny, sometimes cloudy, sometimes very gray. The gray sky is not a failure, it is simply one expression of the weather. If you stop judging the weather inside you, something soft opens, a quiet compassion for your own humanity. This compassion is already a form of deeper joy, but it is so gentle that the mind often misses it. It expects joy to feel like fireworks, so it ignores the soft glow of a candle. You may notice small moments, a brief sense of relief when you stop blaming yourself, a quiet appreciation for a bit of silence, a tiny relaxation when you drop the question, "What's wrong with me?" These are not big highs, they are more like tiny cracks in the wall of resistance. Through those cracks, a different light begins to enter. As this light grows, something curious happens. You become less interested in joy and more interested in truth. You begin to value feeling what is real over feeling what is pleasant. If grief is here, you allow grief. If boredom is here, you allow boredom. If a small moment of sweetness appears, you allow that too, without clinging. Life stops being a project to optimize and becomes an unfolding to witness. In that witnessing, a deeper kind of satisfaction slowly, quietly takes root. This deeper satisfaction does not depend on life going your way. It is not cancelled by a difficult day, a conflict, or a wave of sadness. It is more like a background sense of, even this is allowed, even this belongs. When joy disappears, you are given the chance to discover this background for the first time. It was there even during your happiest moments, but you were so focused on the peak that you missed the ground beneath your feet. Now the peaks have flattened, and the ground is all that's left to discover. You may wonder, will I ever feel joy again in the familiar way? Perhaps, perhaps not. Some people find that many simple joys return, but they are lighter, with less clinging and less fear. Others find that their life becomes quieter, less dramatic, but more peaceful overall. The important point is that your aim is no longer to recreate an old emotional landscape. Your aim, if we can call it that, is to be honest with what is here now. From that honesty, whatever emotions arise are secondary. If joy returns, it is a guest, not a god. You welcome it, enjoy its company, and allow it to leave when it wishes. You no longer organize your life around making it stay. The same is true for sadness, inspiration, even spiritual ecstasy. They may visit. You do not build your identity on them. In this way, your inner home becomes more stable, less fragile. You are no longer at the mercy of each emotional visitor. The paradox is that when you stop demanding joy, life becomes more intimate. You taste your tea more fully, not because it gives you a high, but because you are actually here to taste it. You listen to someone speak, not waiting for them to entertain you, but simply present with their words and their silence. You walk down the street and notice small details that were previously invisible in your rush to get somewhere else. This intimacy is quiet, but it is rich. It is the richness of being alive, without needing that aliveness to be constantly exciting. This is why many spiritual teachers say that awakening is more like coming home than like winning a lottery. It is ordinary, familiar, almost obvious once seen. Of course, I was always here. Of course, this moment was always complete in itself. What falls away is not your capacity for joy, but your belief that you needed certain conditions to be allowed to feel whole. When nothing brings you joy anymore, life is saying, try living without that condition. See what you discover when you no longer insist that this moment should feel different. So if you are in this phase now, I invite you to stop making it your enemy. Instead of saying, "This should not be happening," you might gently say, "I don't understand this, but I am willing to be here for it." You don't have to like it. You don't have to pretend it feels good. You only have to stop abandoning yourself because of how you feel. Stay close to your own experience as you would stay close to a child who is confused and afraid. Your presence is more important than any feeling passing through it. Over time, you may notice that what you once called nothing is not empty at all. There is a subtle aliveness in the stillness, a quiet fullness in the so-called flatness. You begin to sense that life is not something that happens only in peaks of emotion. It is happening now, in every breath, in every heartbeat, in every ordinary sensation. This recognition does not arrive as a big dramatic realization. It is more like sunlight slowly filling a room at dawn. At first, you hardly notice. Then, one day, you realize the whole room is bright. From this brightness, you will look back on your former idea of joy with compassion. You will see how much you suffered trying to keep the music loud, the colors bright, the feelings intense. You will see how hard you tried to fix yourself when the volume started to drop. And you may even smile, because you will know now that nothing was wrong with you. Life was simply inviting you to rest from the constant search, to rediscover the simple wonder of being here. The invitation is not to live without joy, but to live without dependence on joy. Joy, when it comes, is beautiful, but when it doesn't, life is still here. Consciousness is still here. The opportunity to be present is still here. The deepest fulfillment is not in always feeling good, but in discovering that you are larger than what you feel, that you are the space in which all feelings appear and disappear. That space does not get excited and it does not get depressed. It simply is. So when you find yourself thinking, "Nothing brings me joy anymore," let that sentence be a doorway, not a verdict. Instead of using it to condemn your life, use it to question your old idea of what joy was. Sit, breathe, feel the simplicity of this very moment, even if the mind calls it empty. Notice that you are here, aware, conscious, without needing anything extra in order to be. In that simple fact, I am, there is a quiet, steady fulfillment that no pleasure can give and no sadness can take away. This is not the end of joy, but the discovery of something deeper than joy, the peace of simply being.